Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Paterson Board of Adjustment meeting of the City of Paterson on March 11th, 2021 via webinar session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the city clerk of the City of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Chairman Paterson, may I call the roll, please?
Yes.
Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas, are you present?
Present.
Commissioner Furman.
Present.
Commissioner Hodges.
Present.
Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Levine? Absent. Commissioner Minaudo. Absent. Commissioner Roheen.
Present.
Commissioner Watkins.
Present.
Commissioner Arenas.
Present.
Thank you. Once again, Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Minaudo. Chairman Paterson.
Present.
We have 7 commissioners in attendance. May I proceed with the agenda?
Yes.
The agenda for March 11, 2021, the notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing effective coronavirus measures on the next public meeting, consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107 given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 by Governor Philip D. Murphy. The Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8 commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey. In-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 1-973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-001. Board of Adjustment, regular meeting of Thursday, March 11, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. on the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov, and following the email link for the meeting, www.patersonnj.gov/Board of Adjustment. Today, the following cases are being heard. Number 1, Market Street Super Subs, 658-664 Market Street, Block 9006, Lot 3. This is an application for reconsideration denied on August 10, 2020 to convert a commercial space into 2 separate spaces. A 6,141 square feet and 2,412 square feet, and add a second level addition for 3 2-bedroom apartments. The applicant proposes to open a 6,141 square foot laundromat in one of the retail spaces. The applicant is proposing 58 washing machines and 44 dryers. The retail spaces was formerly a car dealership and has been occupied as a laundromat. The applicant is providing 19 parking spaces of the 47 parking spaces that are required. This is for use both site plan, state county planning board review in a B3 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicants present, Al Mariconda, on the request for reconsideration. Have both my professionals with me this evening to describe the modification and reduction.
Thank you. Second application is Taylor 5 Apartments LLC, carried from October 22nd, 2020, 385, 391 Total Avenue, Block 919, Lot 17, and 404-406 Total Avenue. This application is to add a 3-floor addition to an existing 3-story vacant school for a total of 6 floors plus a basement. The applicant proposes to convert the vacant school into a 61-unit apartment building. The basement will consist of a 2-bedroom apartment for the superintendent, utility room, community room, and a gym. The first 6 floors will contain 10 one-bedroom apartments per floor for a total of 110 spaces that are required. This will be a 25 on-site parking spaces and 15 parking spaces to be located at 404-406 Totowa Avenue. This is for use of D variances site plan, Passaic County Planning Board review. It is in an R3 and B1 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicants present, this is a request for an adjournment. Revised plans were just received by my office today. Also, we have new off-site parking, and we have a tax issue in arbitration with the city of Paterson, which is about to be resolved, so we will be needing one additional adjournment.
Thank you. Next application and final is Jocelyn Baez, carried from January 14, 2021, 2718 Avenue, Block 3918, Lot 6. This is an application to create 2 parking spaces in the front yard setback for an existing 2-family dwelling on a 37-foot by 100-foot lot. The minimum lot size for a 1 and 2 family dwelling is 50 feet by 100 feet in an R2 zone. The applicant will provide 2 parking spaces of the 4 parking spaces that are required. This is for bulk and site plan in an R2 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicants present and ready. Mr. Stearns from GB is filling in for Mr. Evans in this matter. The applicant is present, and we have the assistance of an interpreter as well.
Thank you. Chairman Thaxton, I turn the meeting over to you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Mariconda, can
Yes,
we
sir.
hear, item number 2, the adjournment, please?
Yes, thank you. Again, for the record, Alan Mariconda on behalf of Taylor 5. Again, we have revised plans which have just come in, not been received by the board or board planner as yet. We also have a new lease agreement for additional off-site parking. We have a tax issue with the city of Paterson, which is very close to being resolved. We've come a long way. It's being mediated in effect. So we'd like to get this matter carried to a new date. And there's a possibility we may request a special meeting, but we'll take a regular meeting date at this time.
Chairman Thaxton?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Rock, I'm sorry. Do you want to address this as well?
No, based on the revised plans, let's give them the first available. I think that makes sense.
Madam Secretary, this is Gary Paparosi. Mr. Mariconda, you did send another package to the board, the zoning office, and you did mention that there is an additional site for parking on Wayne Avenue.
Yeah.
When they submit the plans, Mr. Mariconda, can they submit a plot plan of that area and show the parking and, detail it, striping, lighting, curbing, whatever needs to be done?
Absolutely. I did discuss that with the architect, and Mr. Roman's going to assist in that as well.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Miss Maggie? Miss Vega?
Hey Maggie, I'm on. It's Jeff.
Maggie?
Sorry, Maggie's having a little technical issues. We're trying to resolve it. One moment.
Just let her know the Jeff thoughts. I don't know, I think she
When Maggie comes back, we'll have her actually mark it, but let the record reflect that Commissioner Levine is present. I think he was previously marked as absent, he is present and on.
Alright, thanks, Lando.
Can you hear me now, gentlemen, commissioners and staff?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go back to this meeting. This meeting has been carried. May I proceed, sir?
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Commissioner Levine is
Okay.
present. Okay, go ahead.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
what you were saying.
I'd like, considering the fact that this application has been carried twice, this will be the third time. Due to the time restraints and the amount of applications, this matter for Taylor 5 Apartments LLC, 385-391 Totowa Avenue, will be carried to September 23rd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Maricondo, do you waive all statutory time requirements?
I'm a little stunned by the number of months, but I will waive the statutory time requirements.
I understand that, but I would like to explain that there are meetings that could take place, and this application has ample time, close to a year, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Paparazzi, and since they're not prepared today as well, I have applicants that need to get on. So if you would like to bump it up another month, I don't have a problem with that, but he must be prepared.
No, I understand, yep. If you could do that,
I will change it.
we may seek a special meeting, but give us the earliest date you can.
Well, the best is September 2nd.
Okay,
So the meeting of Taylor 5 Apartments, 385-391 Totowa Avenue is carried to, September 9th, my apologies.
okay.
September 9th, 21 at 7:30 p.m. And I do expect plans to be submitted on time so that my planner has enough time to do his review. Thank you very much for your consideration in this matter.
Statutory time requirements are waived through that date.
Mr. LaRocca, Gary Paparosi again, Maggie said that there were some concerned citizens for this application. I don't know if they're on the line, but, let them know about, no more notice. I think that they should know. I know Maggie just said it, but, make it clear.
So the next meeting for this application is September 9th, 2021. You will not receive any notice in the mail with regard to the September 9th, 2021 date. Do not expect to. That will be the date. However, if in fact he changes the date to an earlier date or just another date in general, notice will be required. But as it is now, the matter is scheduled for September 9th. No new notice will be sent.
If I may also add that because of the volume of people calling in, I don't know who they are, but if for any reason the date is changed, the attorney will not only re-notify, but you can also contact me. My number's on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, Chairman, that is it, sir. You may proceed to the next application. We have a reconsideration.
Yes, that's the case we're gonna take now.
Mr. Marcanda.
Yes, thank you again, Commissioners. Good evening again. Al Maricondo for the record, 726 Market Street, Paterson. We're here before you with regard to Market Street subs, property located at 664 Market Street. We're asking your consideration to restore this matter back to the active agenda as I outlined, or as my professionals have outlined in their architectural and site plan renderings, which they're available to post and also to briefly testify to if need be. We've done substantial modifications here based upon the input we received from the board last, when the denial was issued, substantially reducing the intense use of the site. They'll elaborate on that, but we've eliminated the second retail space, laundry machines are reduced, and providing more on-site parking. So I'd like to call Mr. Ozzie Martinez as the first witness to describe those changes, and then Mr. Stearns is also available.
Linda?
Yes. Mr. Martinez, please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Osvaldo Martinez, Martinez.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, just briefly for the record, your professional background license.
Yes, I'm a New Jersey and New York licensed architect for over 20 years. I have appeared through, with numerous planning boards throughout the state of New Jersey, as well as this planning board, this Paterson planning board as well.
Thank you.
Planning board of adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, we accept?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martinez, I briefly highlighted what we did to modify this plan. Could you describe your layout changes?
Yes, if I may share the screen.
Yes.
You did a very nice job in doing that. Essentially, we have eliminated the commercial retail space on Market Street, just to the right of the laundromat. In that space, we've created, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we've eliminated the commercial/retail space. In that space, we've created an indoor parking garage that accommodates 6 parking spaces exclusively for the second floor retail, second floor apartment space, 3 apartments, 6 parking spaces. We've reduced the number of washers from 58 to 50. We've reduced the number of dryers from 44 to 40. And we have created this on the second floor. We have created a laundry administration office, which also helps the situation with the parapet wall that was of concern at the previous meeting. So at that point there, that's not an oversized parapet wall. It's now the second floor laundry administration office.
Very good. So the second retail space is completely eliminated?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Unless Mr. Paparazzi has any questions, unless you have anything else to add, it's up to you.
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Gary.
Yeah, no, I received Mr. Martinez's, revision, and, I think the changes are substantial. Yeah, so, I have no issue with that.
Chairman, I could offer Mr. Stearns from the site plan perspective, but it's very similar testimony.
No, that's quite all right.
He's available if you need it.
Mr. Maricondo, I do not have Mr. Stearns' plan for that. I do have, Mr. Martinez's plan, the 3-page plan from Mr. Martinez. I guess that's all it was, it's 3 pages.
We definitely submitted to your staff a few months ago the revised plans on behalf of Mr. Stearns as well, but I'll make sure with the board secretary again tomorrow that it gets to you right away, but that definitely was done.
Okay, after you submit to Maggie, once you give her an email copy, you should CC me on that as well. Maggie has to get it first, but this way Maggie doesn't have to go, we don't have to do a third party. And, a couple times though, Mr. Maricando, that I got surprised at the last minute. So let's
Yeah.
give it to Maggie first, but you can CC me, and then this way I can go right to my report, okay?
The hard copies are in her office, and I will make sure that you get them again.
Thank you. And for the board, Mr. Chairman, I think the changes are substantial. I think that the board can consider reconsideration. The parking has increased, the retail has been eliminated, the washing machines have been decreased, so everything is in the right direction for a better application. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Yes, hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to know, how many parking spaces are being offered and how many are required, just paparazzi?
I'd like to call Mr. Stearns on that point.
Yeah, Commissioner Hodges, I didn't get Mr. Stern's plan, so I didn't do my report, but they increased their parking by at least 6. And, they also decreased the amount needed because they eliminated the retail and they eliminated some washing machines. So the required number went down and the proposed number went up. Okay, but I don't have that number because I didn't do my report yet because I didn't get Mr. Stearns' plan. I did get Mr. Martinez, but I waited to get his plan just so I can go over the variances.
They were delivered the same day, but Tom's available to point out that number if you wish for the commissioner. Would you like to have Tom sworn in on that point?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Mr. Rocca.
So, based off of the testimony we heard, most importantly, our planner indicating that he finds that the modifications are substantial. They're legally entitled to reconsideration in terms of a substantial modification. We would need a motion to allow the reconsideration, and then if the motion passes, it can be listed.
And Mr. Hodges, this motion is just to bring it back to the board again.
Then Commissioner, there'll be a full presentation.
Yeah.
Opportunity to question all the witnesses, you would examine the plans. This is just to show that before they can come back, that they've already substantially modified this application to satisfy that they're not coming back with, in essence, the same application as before.
Understood, thank you.
You're welcome.
So can I get a motion?
Yes, hi, good evening.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
The first motion?
Commissioner Furman, is that you, sir?
Yes.
Commissioner Dewey, second.
Chairman?
Yes, motion made by Commissioner Furman, second by Commissioner Dumas. Maggie, call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, reconsideration. I'd like to give that a date, if I may, or Mr. Maricando?
I would think it would be after the vote.
Okay, just check.
It would be after the vote.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas, your vote, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Furman.
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Mirono's absent. Commissioner Rohim.
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes, Maggie.
And Chairman Thaxton.
Yes.
This reconsideration has been granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now can we have a date?
1 second, sir. Chairman Thaxton, this application for Market Street Superstar 664 Market Street will be carried to August 12th, 2021.
Mr. Nakam, Mr. Nakam?
Madam Secretary.
Yes,
Did you get the date?
Mr. Maraconda,
Yes.
the date will be August 12th,
Yes.
2021 at 7:30 p.m.
Right, well, of course, we'll be doing public notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next case. Mr. Maraconda?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was off for a second.
Jocelyn Baez, 27 18th Avenue.
Oh, Mr. Maraconda, you, said that you had an interpreter?
Yes, the interpreter's coming on. He had a problem with the link, but he'll be on shortly.
Mr. LaRocca, is that all right?
It's a licensed certified interpreter, which I think the board had asked for. Ms. Baez speaks English fairly well, but she was somewhat nervous last time, so we thought the board council thought it was good to get an interpreter.
Do you have any professionals that are testifying?
Yes, Mr. Tom Stearns of GB is testifying on behalf of Mr. Evans tonight. Mr. Evans had a family matter he could not avoid.
So we could start with his testimony while we wait for the interpreter to come on.
Right.
All right, so Chairman, why don't we start with the professional?
All right, Mr. Maraconda, your first witness, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll just briefly indicate before I call Mr. Stearns on behalf of Mr. Evans, this is an application for site plan and bulk variances only. The applicant is seeking to put a 2-car driveway in front of the house. It's a 2-family zone, so Mr. Stearns will testify to the site plan and the requirements of the 2-car driveway which we're seeking at this time. Bulk variance only. The board has considered this type of application before as a bulk variance. So I'll call Mr. Stearns at this time.
Rick, please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thomas G. Stearns III, 144 Jewel Street, Garfield, New Jersey, covering for Matt Evans, plans prepared by Matt Evans. I'm a licensed engineer in the state, licensed land surveyor. I've been before this board and many others in the state as an expert in engineering.
I would ask the chair to accept his credentials.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just have to go off for 1 second if I may.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. I apologize. I just want to make sure that the interpreter was okay. He should be on shortly. Thank you. Mr. Stearns, obviously you're familiar with this site plan after reviewing Mr. Evans' presentation, is that right?
Yes, I am.
Could you give us an overview of what the site is and what they're looking to do?
Sure. Could I, share my screen?
Yes.
Sure.
Screen should be coming up.
Does everyone see that? I'll close the quick move. Okay, so the site in question is lot 16, block 3918. This is number 27 18th Avenue. The property is on the northerly side of 18th Avenue. It's on the westerly, it's one lot east of East 21st Street. So the property in question is 37.5 foot wide by 100 foot deep, 3750 square feet. We have an existing 2.5 story frame dwelling on the property. It's a 2-family dwelling, and we have 3 bedrooms per each dwelling, as I've been informed. Currently, the property has no driveway and there's no curb cut. So the proposal is to create, I'm gonna go up to the site plan detail here. So we are planning on creating a 18-foot wide curb cut on the westerly, on the left side of the property. We're creating a driveway up to the concrete porch. Driveway will be 18 feet wide and approximately 18 feet deep to the property line. So we have just over 18 feet from the porch to the property line. There is another additional 2.7 feet to the sidewalk. That's just a grass area. That's currently a grass area in front of the property line. So the proposal is to have the apron, create an apron, curb cut, and driveway. We'll have 2-car parking in front of the dwelling. And as far as some bulk variances that we're creating by doing that. So the requirement for parking is 3 foot off the property line. As you can see over here, we're going to be just the nature of the width of the driveway and the adjacent features is going to give us 2.2 feet off the property line. So that's one variance that we're asking for. The other is that there's no parking allowed within the front setback, which is 20 feet in this instance. So we are going to be parking in that 20-foot front yard. I'll just go down. We have a bulk variance chart over here on the right. So the R2 zone, 5,000 square feet is required. We're at 3750. That's an existing nonconformity. Lot width, 50 is required. We're at 37.5 feet. Existing nonconformity. Front yard setback, 20 is required. We're compliant. Side yard, 4 feet is required. The house is at 1.5. That's existing nonconformity. Both side yard setbacks, 14 is required. We're at 9.5. That's an existing. Rear yard, we're compliant. 20 is required. 22.6. The height, 35. We're under that at 24. Stories, 3 stories allowed. 2.5 are provided. Lot coverage, 40%. We're under that at 32. Parking in the front yard setback, as I described, 20 feet is the front yard setback. We're basically in that setback, so we're asking for a variance for that. Parking in the side, 3 feet. We're at 2.2. The nature of this is to add parking where there is none, so it's going to be a benefit overall. And we feel it's a good application.
And Mr. Stearns, of course, the owner occupant will be testifying as well. Based upon the surrounding R2 zone, the lot size, in your opinion, is fairly typical?
It is, yes. There's a block in question. So there's several smaller lots, several equivalent lots. So we're in general, we're similar to other lots.
Obviously, from an engineering design standpoint, the the addition of off-street parking benefits the applicant as well as the area.
That's correct, yes.
That's all I have with Mr. Stearns. Of course, he's available for Mr. Paparazzi and the commissioners.
Jeremy?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mariconda, I believe we had some testimony on this before. I don't remember the date.
We started just a little bit with Mr. Evans' testimony, and then it was apparent that Ms. Baez was gonna have some problem with the language barrier. So we're presenting it, a new one, essentially.
I know, Mr. Stearns, and your application says it's a two-family, but, I think we already spoke about this. The tax bill says she's being billed as a three-family, and there are 3 doorbells there.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I did mention that once before, and I'm not sure if it's a 3, it's an existing 3, and it's permitted because she's being taxed for 3. So,
Yeah.
if it's not, she should, try to fix that.
Right, I agree with you. Yeah, I spoke to the assessor again, and I also spoke to Mr. Glenturi. I thought, Gary, that you got an email from me earlier today. I spoke to Glenturi again today. He says his record's reflected as a two-family as a zoning officer. I thought I sent it to Maggie and your office by email. If I did not, I apologize.
I saw that, but there are 3 doorbells in a full basement, and the assessment card is a 3-family.
Right.
So, as I alluded to in earlier testimony, the driveway is already put in.
Right, no, we
Also, that
understand that,
Mr. Stearns is talking about is already there.
We understand that, we acknowledge that. Ms. Baez explained to me, and she can testify under oath as well, she thought that when she went to Mr. Evans and the process was started, she could start putting in that gravel area, which of course has to be paved. But I explained to her that that's not permitted until the final approval occurs. I would ask the board's consideration that as a layperson, she obviously made a mistake in judgment. She understands that in order for this to be a permanent parking area, it has to be approved by the board. She understands and respects that now.
Okay, yes.
If I may make excuse me, Mr. Paparazzi, I did read the email, Mr. Mariconda, and, it does state that Glenn Torrey, the Assistant Zoning Officer for this office, has stated that it is a two-family.
And what's gonna happen, Ms. Baez's testimony I would offer to you, is she's indicating that she's the owner occupant on the first floor, and that the second and third floor are used by one tenant, combined family members on both floors.
Okay. So the only reason I said that, Mr. Mariconda, is because she's being taxed for 3.
Yeah, well, I pointed that out to her too, so that, she should address that, I agree.
Mr. Chairman and board members, this area has no parking at all. So to take 2 cars off the street, I think is a good thing. I know, Ms. Baez has to pave it, it's already in. The 2 variances that are created are no front parking and parking 3 feet to the line, as Mr. Stearns alluded to. There is a parking variance because it's either, whether it was a 2 or 3, the number of spaces is now being decreased by 2. So whatever was needed is now 2 less because, she put some parking, on her property and off the street. Yeah, I have no issues with the application. Any questions? I will happily answer. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any commissioners have questions?
I have a question as a secretary. I just want to reiterate that the applicant will provide 2 parking spaces of the 4, Gary Paparazzi. It stays as is.
She's providing 2 spaces, Maggie. I don't know how many are needed, because of, we don't have floor plans to count bedrooms, and there is a full basement. And, so whatever the number is, it's gonna be 2 less. So I thought the parking might be anywhere from 6 to 8 spaces required, and she's providing 2, where none existed before. So
this ad that, when I put the action in, just want to make sure that what is the amount that is required?
I have no problem if you address it the way Gary said, 6 to 8.
6 to 8? Okay, thank you,
Exactly.
Mr. Mariconda.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. No commissioners have any questions, Mr. Maricondo?
Mr. Stearns? Stop sharing.
Chairman, can I open it to the public?
Excuse me? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
To the members of the public, if you have any questions of this witness, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls.
We have no callers at this time, but I just wanted to note with Mr. Araconda that I did get in touch with the interpreter, and he said he is in the webinar.
Yes, I am present here, Mr. Mariconda.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So Chairman Jackson, Commissioners, and Mr. LaRocca, we have no callers at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Maricondo, please call your next witness.
So I'll swear in the interpreter first. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to interpret the English language into Spanish, Spanish into English to the best of your ability?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Cesar Villon, V-I-L-L-O-N. I am an AOC approved interpreter.
Can we swear in the witness now? Can you have her raise her right hand?
Señora Báez, por favor, levante su mano derecha.
You swear affirm the testimony about to give?
Usted jura,
Go ahead.
usted jura o afirma que el testimonio que usted da aquí en este asunto va a ser la verdad,
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Yes.
Yes, todo en español.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Villon.
Can she state her full name for the record?
Good evening, Mr. Laraca. ¿Cuál es su nombre completo, por favor?
Jocelyn Baez.
Jocelyn.
Before anyone continues any further, excuse me, Melinda, Alan has a bad connection. He's logging back in, so he has not heard anything. Do you want to start again, or I
No, it's okay. We're just.
It's okay? All right, so he's gonna take a few minutes, so, Mr. LaRocca, just give him like 2 minutes, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. You may
Melinda,
proceed.
were you done?
Yes.
Mr. Maricondo? Please mute your mic, please. We're connected.
Mr. Chairman, Gary Paparosi, the IT guy is still in the process of reconnecting, Mr. Mariconda, and, they're using Maggie's phone, so she can't, hang up to tell you that, so we still need a few minutes. Okay?
Okay. Mr. Rocca.
Let's take a 5-minute break. Well, you know what, actually, I was gonna do a resolution, but we can't on that. So, yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.
Jocelyn dice que va a tomar un receso de 5 minutos, ¿ok?
Sí.
No cuelgues, que van a tomar un receso nada más de 5 minutos.
Please mute your mics.
Ok. Yo te llamo, Jocelyn.
A minute or so, and we'll be back on. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Paparazzi, for assisting me. Chairman Thaxton, can we proceed from here, sir?
Yes, you can.
Mr. Alan Maricondo, Mr. LaRocca, would you like to, take the meeting from here, let us know where we left off?
Well, we're ready to go on our second witness.
Your witness has been sworn in, you're ready to proceed. Please call your witness.
Okay, thank you. I'll call Ms. Baez, please. Ms. Baez will be testifying through the assistance of the interpreter, Mr. Cesar Valone. And, do we need to swear him in at this time, Mr. LaRocca?
It's already all done.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I apologize, okay. Anyway, Ms. Baez, you are the owner of this property at 27 18th Avenue, is that correct?
Sorry, I was muted. Señora Baez, ¿usted es la dueña de la casa que está en el 27 de la 18 Avenida?
Sí,
Yes.
And, you also live on the first floor of the house, is that correct?
¿Y es verdad que usted también vive en el primer piso de la casa?
sí,
Yes.
Okay. And you rent the, second and third floors to a larger family, is that correct?
Y el segundo y el tercer piso, usted se lo ha alquilado a una familia que es grande, ¿verdad?
sí,
Yes.
Okay. And your application before the board tonight was to allow for 2 cars to be parked in the front driveway.
Y la aplicación que usted tiene a esta junta esta noche es para permitir que se estacionen 2 autos en el lugar de estacionamiento enfrente de la casa, ¿verdad?
sí,
Yes.
Okay, and those parking spaces would be used for your family?
¿Y esos lugares de estacionamiento van a ser utilizados para su familia?
sí,
Yes.
Okay. And do you agree with the testimony that was offered on your behalf earlier?
¿Y usted está de acuerdo con el testimonio que ya se dio anteriormente que fue a favor suyo?
sí,
Yes.
Thank you. And also, you realize that the driveway area that you've started to work on, you cannot proceed any further until this board decides this case.
Y usted también entiende que esa parte del estacionamiento que usted ya empezó a preparar para estacionar y no puede proseguir todavía hasta que esta junta no decida este caso. ¿Usted entiende esto?
sí.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, of this witness.
Esas son todas las preguntas que tengo de estas testigas, caballero.
Gary, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just quickly, Ms. Baez, does anybody live in the basement?
Señora Baez, ¿alguien vive en el basement?
No,
No.
Okay. And if the application is approved, you realize that the parking area has to be paved.
Usted entiende que si esta aplicación es aprobada, el lugar que usted va a poner el estacionamiento, usted tiene que pavimentarlo. ¿Entiende esto? I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
If the application is approved, she realizes she has to pave that area, that parking area.
Usted entiende que si esta aplicación es aprobada, ese lugar de estacionamiento, usted tiene que cementarlo. Usted entiende esto, ¿verdad?
sí.
Yes.
That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
No tengo más preguntas, gracias.
Any commissioners have questions?
¿Alguno de los comisionados tienen alguna pregunta?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Furman. I do have a question for Ms. Baez.
Este es el comisionado Fermín. Tengo una pregunta para la señora Baez.
How long do you own this property?
¿Qué tiempo usted lleva siendo dueña de esta propiedad?
3 años.
3 years.
Thank you very much.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Any other commissioner?
¿Algún otro comisionado con preguntas?
Should I open it to the public?
Yes.
Él lo va a presentar ahora al público.
To the members of the public, if anybody has questions of this applicant, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment.
Él le presentó la aprobación al público y él dio el número de teléfono que ellos tienen que llamar y también dio el número de identificación que ellos tienen que marcar para entrar en la reunión.
Maggie, any callers?
No callers at this time, thank you.
Mr. Maricon, do you want to sum up?
Just briefly, Commissioners, we thank you for your consideration. This is an opportunity for an owner occupant to get some off-street parking. We think it's a quality application in that regard. The use is permitted in the R2 zone, and this really enhances the quality of the owner occupant's use of her own home. We would ask the board for consideration for a motion for approval.
Harry?
Yes, Chairman and Commissioners, there are two small variances created by the application, but I believe the positive criteria of getting cars off the street, which has always been a problem in Paterson, outweighs the two minor variances created, and I think it's a positive for that block and that neighborhood. Any questions I would be happy to answer. Thank you, Chairman.
At this time, can I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Furman, I would like to make the first motion for approval. And for the record, can I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Yes, I drove by the area today, and parking is very, very rough. I believe this is going to be a little relief for the people that live close by. Thank you.
El comisionado Fermín ha hecho un llamado para que sea aprobado y él estaba notando de que él pasó por el vecindario esta mañana y vio que para estacionarse en esa zona es bastante difícil, está viendo que sea aprobado.
Commissioner Dumas, second the motion.
La comisionada Dumas también está dando la aprobación.
Madam Secretary, could you read the motion into the record, please?
Absolutely, sir. Chairman Paterson, the first motion is Commissioner Furman. Second motion made by Commissioner Dumas. I will now call the roll. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas. Commissioner Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Commissioner Levine? Commissioner Levine? Thank you, Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Rohini?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes, Maggie.
And Chairman Dexton?
Yes.
We have 7 votes in the affirmative. Congratulations, Mrs. Baez. This application has been granted.
Y ahí le dan las felicitaciones que la aplicación tuya ha sido otorgada. Felicidades.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have a resolution. Can I move the resolution?
I think the clerk's getting ready to ask you that.
Okay, perfect. So, Commissioners, we have a resolution for EC Property Holdings LLC Property located at 153 23rd Avenue, block 7408, lot 14, the R2 zone. There's an application to construct a 3-story, 2-family dwelling on a vacant lot. This was heard on December 3rd, 2020. At the conclusion of the application, there was a motion made by Commissioner Hodges to approve the application, which was seconded by Chairman Daxton. It went to a vote, which was 7 in favor, 0 against. The commissioners who voted in favor were Commissioner Furman, Commissioner Hodges, Manaro, Rohim, Dumas, Watkins, and Chairman Daxton. Will someone please move the resolution?
So moved.
Commissioner Hodges, do we have a second?
Commissioner Watkins, second.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please poll the board.
Thank you. First motion, Commissioner Hodges, second motion by Commissioner Watkins. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Furman,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim. Thank you, Commissioner Watkins,
Yes, Maggie.
and Chairman Dax.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. There is no further business on the Board of Adjustment this evening. Chairman Dax, can we have a first and second motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you very much,
Good
everyone.
night.
Have a nice evening.
Good night, everyone.
Everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.